Welcome to the vlog. It's here. It's finally here. When I'm ordering from Amazon, normally it takes around 4 days to arrive. But for this one, I waited more than 2 weeks. It's like sometimes everything works against you. The new Mavic has a total of 10 obstacle sensors all around it, but the one that I have has only 2 in the front and 2 underneath. If you're flying backwards or sideways, it relates only up to you in order to avoid those obstacles. Around 2 weeks ago, I was trying to orbit around the first object, keeping it in the center of the frame and at the same time going up over the tree and tilt the camera down so I will have both objects in the frame. Long story short, I hit the top branches of the tree and my drone got stuck up there. I haven't uploaded for a while, and the reason is that this last month I had a lot of business opportunities and didn't have the time to film, but more about this in the next videos. The second reason is that I was disappointed with myself and with this whole drone situation. I didn't finish the vlog I was filming that day, and for the next couple of days I wasn't in the mood to film anything. Let me know in the comments if something similar happened to you and made you feel this way, and how did you get over it? After the crash, the drone was flying correctly, but I don't have image. Apparently, the gimbal has a very small flat cable that is very fragile and indeed is cut in half. But this cable is for the gimbal, so we'll be replacing also the second cable that is responsive for the video and image. I also learned that if you send your drone back to DJI, it can take up to 6 to 8 months to take it back. So I have 2 choices here. 1, buy the cables from Amazon for around 15 euros, or 2, bring it to a local store that charge around 150 euros just to replace the cables, and I will need to wait again 1 to 2 months. Guess which one we're going to do? So as you can see, I have removed the gimbal from the drone. It wasn't so hard to do. This is the first time I have opened up my drone, but I have opened hundreds of devices before this one, so I feel very confident. But if you aren't, you shouldn't do that. Just go to a professional. I remember that if something got broken, one of my favorite things to do as a kid was to try to find out the problem and why it doesn't work, figure out the solution and try to fix it. As a grown-up, I'm continuing to do things like this with more expensive stuff, with problems in my life in general, or more specifically designing problems. When I have that aha moment that I find out the solution, I have that feeling of excitement and accomplishment. I will have links in the description with all those kind of stuff and replacement parts for the drone. So if you are hearing a loud noise, this is because I started up the drone. It took me more than I thought to replace the cable inside the gimbal because it's going around and inside and has all those connectors, those really tiny screws, so it was really tricky to do it. But I'm really happy to report that we have image again. So let's go for a test ride. I wasn't in the mood to film this video, but those kind of stuff happens and we cannot just give up every time we have a drawback. The drone is flying correctly and I have image again, but I have that weird motion of the gimbal, like a wibbly effect. It's creating those kind of waves on the video. So I have recalibrated the gimbal, but even when I have the drone down in the floor without flying, the gimbal just make that weird move all the time. So I'm searching, maybe someone has the same issue, but obviously there is more issue than the cable, and I will probably need to see if the local store can fix it or if I need to send it back to DJI and wait like 6 to 8 months. Yeah. I was searching online and everyone was suggesting the same solution. They were saying that if you crash your drone, there's a possibility that the plate that holds the gimbal have moved outside this plastic thing, and the only thing to do is to just push it back inside. This is not the case for me because I have reassembled the drone around 4 times now, and every time I'm checking that this is in the correct position. But I was thinking that maybe the plate itself was damaged due to the crash, so I have ordered a new one from Amazon, replaced the old plate with a new one, but unfortunately didn't work. I have calibrated the gimbal, the IMV and the compass a lot of times. Another idea was that when I have replaced the cable, I also updated the firmware. So what I did was to downgrade again back to where it was before I replaced the cable, but this also didn't work. Maybe the motors are countering each other, so maybe it's a mechanical issue and not a technical one. What I did was to open up again the drone, the gimbal, remove the cables, all the screws, everything, and reassemble it from the beginning. And now, when I leave the drone down on the floor, it doesn't make that weird movement, but definitely we need to fly to be sure, so let's take it for a test flight. Finally, everything is working. I'm really happy about that. And oh man, those 3 last weeks have been so long, but finally we made it. And I want to say that if you have an issue, don't directly quit. Try some more and maybe you will be surprised with yourself and what you can achieve. If you ever come across that feeling like I did because something went wrong, maybe you lost your files, someone stole your gear, or maybe the meeting with the client didn't go as planned and you missed a big business opportunity, and I know those are really tiny things compared to the problems that you could have, and you can't just forget about it. You need to give yourself a limited time of period to just feel bad. Try not to blame yourself for everything, put it in perspective. It's something that you probably will not remember in a month, and finally learn from it. So the lessons here for me are: 1. When flying with a drone, try to move around so you have a better view of your surroundings. 2. If something happens, don't be discouraged. Instead, learn from it. And 3. Practice, practice, practice. So quick question, if everything is always going well, do we really learn? I'm gonna go practice some more and I'll see you in the next one.